Hey guys, what's up? I'm PRXPT and I'm going to be making my first guide for this new patch 9.17, coming out with a new comp that is not yet super meta, although it does involve a lot of contested units since everyone knows how strong they are. It's just maximizing these units to their best uh, potential, basically. So firstly, I will say that this is a comp that I did actually come up with myself. I have also seen other people use it. I'm not saying I created this. I'm just saying that I didn't copy it from anybody. I didn't see it particularly be super meta in any region, whether it be Korea, NA, or EU. So it's just something I theory crafted at the start of the patch because I knew that Shapeshifters and Gnar would be strong, and I've been using it to climb um, up the Challenger ladder. As we see here, I'm almost top 100. I climbed almost 200 points from like low Challenger, basically, up to almost, we could say, high Challenger right now using this strategy. So I think it's definitely effective. Now, what I'm looking at here is the Blitz GG profile of Arcelate. Arcelate is the rank 1 player on EU Northeast. Now, I'm not saying EU NE is an amazing region or anything, but look at his win rate. He's got a 40% win rate. I just found out about this literally a few minutes ago. People have been coming out and showing the comp that he's been using, and it's basically exactly the same as what I've been running. The only difference is that he's using Poppy instead of Cannon. Now, I prefer Cannon because I find Cannon synergizes so well with Gnar. However, I can understand why Poppy is used also. So we both had the same idea, and I think it's really cool that another very good player, rank 1 on another server, has shown that this is a viable strategy and it works. So really cool that it confirms this, as well as just how I've been doing in my games using this. And just notice how he's running the exact same strategy literally every single game. Like, it appears that it is forcible, at least right now. Although I still do not recommend to force any one single comp, it appears it is forcible. So this will be your core pieces of the comp, and it's going to be 3 shapeshifters, 3 Yordles, 3 sorcerers, and dragons. And let's get into it. Why do I like this comp so much? Why do I prefer this comp compared to a comp such as, let's say, the 6 shapeshifters plus dragons? The reason is because 6 shapeshifters is so hard to get. A lot of times you have to just store all your pieces on the bench, and or like you put out 1-star units out in the battlefield, and it's not easy to get. You're relying on finding that Swain, and it's a very good, strong late-game comp, but the meta has shifted. The meta is much more mid-game focused now. You need to create a team that is strong in the mid-game. This team comp allows for exactly that. It's mid-game focused comp. So you're going to have a huge power spike in the mid game when you hit these. You don't need to like 2-star any of these units. You can just put in 1-star Gnar, you can put in 1-star Asol, and your comp is going to crush at level 7. Trust me, you're going to be able to stabilize at level 7 even with 1-star Gnar and 1-star Asol, and you can econ from that point up to level 8 and make some power-ups if you so wish. It's a great comp for guaranteeing top 4, and I promise you can also just entirely win the game. I do find late game, if you run into a high-rolling 6 shapeshifter comp, that can probably beat you, but there's really not that much that can beat this. Maybe like a high-rolling assassin with Rengar 3, or that new Void variation and he has 3-star of all of his units. But really, this comp is very strong, and I find it to be one of the strongest in the game right now. So these will be our key pieces. We got the Gnar and Cannon synergy. They work together. You want to put the key items onto these 2 units. Stack these 2 units with items. We don't care too much about anyone else. They are all there just to boost the power of Gnar mainly. Kennen is also there to support Gnar, although Kennen is a fabulous unit in his own right. We want Kennen with the Guardian Angel all the time. That's the most essential item on him because he needs to be able to get an ultimate off, basically. Morello's is also preferred on him, although, to be honest, it's not that key. You don't absolutely need it on him. You do need a GA. For Gnar's item, you can put anything on him. I love the combo of Warmogs plus Titanic Hydra. You don't need to do this, though. Gnar can use pretty much any items. You can just do GA on him. You can do Darkin to get demon buff with Morgana in this situation. You can get like Static Shiv or Ginsu's Rage Blade. Dragonclaw is, I love Dragonclaw on Gnar actually. It would be my third preferred item. But my 2 preferred items would be Warmogs and Titanic Hydra, although if you can't get those, it's fine. Gnar doesn't need many items to be effective, but the more you put on him, the better he is, pretty much. So those are going to be your 2 main carries in this comp. And then we got Lulu, who's our third Yordle, and she's going to enable the Shapeshifters because Gnar is going to be supported by the Yordles, which means he's going to be very effective against assassins. Like in this meta, there's a ton of assassins, right? There's a ton of assassin comps, and this is a comp that can do well against assassins because you've got just Kennen and Morgana combo, which destroys assassins with their ultimates. Also, the Yordles do very well against assassins because they're going to dodge the assassin's attacks. It means that the assassins really need to build RFC or they're very screwed. Then we got the 3 Shapeshifters. It's going to give a bonus health to Gnar, which is going to help with this itemization. And then we have the 3 Sorcerers. Since we already have Shyvana will enable Dragon buff with Aurelion Sol. And Morgana is my preferred third Sorc. Now you could use someone like Ahri. Ahri works well. You could use someone like Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate also works well with the blue card. But I personally like Morgana just because she's a demon. She synergizes well also with Gnar and Kennen and with Shapeshifters in general. And at level 8, we're going to get a natural transition by just adding in another demon, since we don't have any demons here, and demons are very powerful right now. So Morgana is my preferred option, though Morgana is the most replaceable unit out of this comp. So we discussed a bit the idea behind the comp and itemization. Let's talk a bit about how to get there. Usually you want to pick up all the Nidleys you can and all the early game Shapeshifters you can. So in the early game, most of your Shapeshifters are going to be, you're never going to pick up Gnar early game. That's something you look for at level 6 and 7. So you're going to be looking for Nidley. Nidley you need to pick up as many as you can, and Elise and Jace are also fine. And the reason why I prefer this comp over this, like having 6 Shapeshifters with Swain, as I said, is because you can later throw Nidalee, or not Nidalee, but you can later throw away Elise. Nidalee is also very important for Gnar, because Nidalee is going to grant Gnar wild buff, which is huge for Gnar, actually. It's like going to give him a lot of power as well. So if you have a Shapeshifter start, that's going to be very ideal. And if you can upgrade some of these, you can put some of Gnar's items onto them. Like even Elise works very well with Warmogs. All Shapeshifters work quite well with Warmogs. Another early game start is you could just have like 2 wilds, Ahri, and you can put Kennen's items onto Ahri or something. Or you could even use Ahri until you find Aurelion Sol. Use some of Aurelion Sol's items if you want to prepare more to focus on Aurelion Sol, though Gnar is the true carrier of this comp. So I wouldn't focus much on Aurelion Sol's items. And I would just use Ahri until we can find Kennen, basically. And so you can use these 2 with wild buff supporting each other. And maybe you got like 2 knights on the side. Maybe you got uh, Darius and, let's say, Poppy, since Poppy is really strong, and Poppy is also a Yordle. So out of this, you can create quite a few interesting comps. You can already have, like, let's say, 3 Sorcs and 3 Yordles early in the game. You have 3 Yordles, 2 Knights here. In this example, we've got 3 Shapeshifters, and let's say we're putting some items onto Jace. And we also found an early cannon, so we've got cannon with items and Jace with items. And we'll switch out Jace for Gnar once we find Jace. And this is a perfectly fine squad to use at level 6 until we get to level 7. There's going to be a lot of different types of team comps you pull together, but basically they're going to involve like some of the core units, Nidalee, Shyvana, Morgana, Lulu, Kennen, other Yordles, other Shapeshifters, and then at level 7 you try to end up creating your full final team composition, which is going to look like this. And of course, as I said, I like to use Kennen, but the rank 1 player on EU Northeast has a 40% win rate, and he has been using Poppy, so it's definitely also very viable just to use Poppy. And that's your level 7 team. It's very strong. It's going to be able to carry you very easily to top 4, and you can increase the strengths. You don't need to necessarily get these to start. You need to gauge your strength level. It's going to depend game to game. If you feel very strong and you're having a good economy and you think some people will get eliminated who have Gnar because you're having a rough time finding Gnar 2 or Asol 2, you can econ up, get to level 8 and try to put in another unit, wait for someone else to get eliminated, and then roll down more. At level 8, when you have a higher chance of finding them, this is already a very strong team that can stabilize you at level 7 very easily, and it's got many ways to power up. Let's talk about some ways to increase your power level at level 8. So here we are. This is my most common variation. I'm just gonna add in a second demon. I prefer Brand. Brand's really powerful, especially with the Morellos. We can exploit that bug. Although you could also use Evelyn. Evelyn works just fine. If you can find Swain, you can use Swain, and this could prepare you for level 9. You could, at level 9, switch out Kennen for Swain, and then add 2 more Shapeshifters at level 9. Though, in general, I find Brand to be the best, and he's going to be easier to 2-star at level 8. Although, if you can't find him, then Evelyn or Aatrox work perfectly well as substitutes also. You could also go with 4 wilds. This is if you had Ari instead of Morgana as a sorcerer. Now, I prefer Morgana, as I stated. I gave some reasons before. I just don't think that having 4 wild is super beneficial. Whilst Aurelion Sol and Lulu and Shyvana don't do too bad with the wild buff, I don't think it's that necessary. And I think since Gnar is the main carry, I focus on just buffing him up as much as possible. And I prefer having Demon buff at level 8. Not really the buff, but I prefer just having a strong champion at level 8. Although this is definitely also viable, it's also going to be strong. Of course, you can also just add a random legendary. In this situation, I added Pantheon. You could add just like Swain or Yasuo or Karthus. Any random strong legendary will be fine in general. They're all very, very strong. So that's another easy option. If you manage to get to level 9, this is only when you're having a very good game and you're very healthy and you know you'll be able to get to level 9. This is like the potential end game dream comp you could have. It's 6 Shapeshifters. You got your Swain, you got your Karthus, and you got 3 Sorcs with it. You got 2 Dragons. This is probably the strongest comp in the late game, and good luck anybody beating this space. So it's good to know that you can transition that level 7 comp into something even stronger, although in all you'll never reach this point in this meta. The meta is quite fast now. Games finish before this happens most of the times right now, but this is like some fantasy dream comp, like Nobles was last patch, let's say. Finally, as a side note, you can there are backup plans. Like if you cannot find that Gnar or Aurelian Sol, it's totally fine. Let's say you find a brand instead, or even just a Sejuani. It's fine because you're going to be able to transition into the Yordle Elemental Sorc build that a lot of people are very familiar with. Or if you find Sejuani, you could do Yordle Sorc Knights. So it's a very familiar build path to many people, and it works really well. So this could be a very viable backup. Let's say you could find your shapeshifters. Let's say you could find Gnar, but you couldn't find your Aurelian Sol. Or maybe like you got a lot of poppies for some reason. In this situation, you could definitely just go into like shapeshifter, guardians, and knights. At level 7, you'd probably have your Yordles with a poppy, and then you'd look to add Sejuani in at the next level, at level 8. So this is the variation of that. And again, it's going to follow the very similar build path, again taking full advantage of the shapeshifters. Finally, let's say you found your shapeshifters, you found your poppy, but you also find brand, but you can't find Aurelian Sol. In this situation, you can just go into Yordle Elemental Shapeshifter, and you can use this team comp to stabilize, and it's going to do very well at level 7. Elementals are still very, very strong at level 7, but they do fall off later in the game. So what you can do is you can look to use this comp to level up an econ up to level 8, and then when you're at level 8, you find your A-Sol at level 8, right? So you got your Aurelian Sol, you replace Lissandra with A-Sol, so you lose elementals, but then you put in A-Sol, and you can put in Lulu instead of Poppy, and voila, you are back to the same level 8 comp that I showed you earlier, except you got there in a different way. So that's another transition which is very good. And these are all very viable backup plans. So this is what you do when you can't find some units, basically. That's going to be it for my guide today. I hope you enjoyed this. I think this is a very strong build that I've been using, and I've seen others also use at Challenger ELO to a good degree of success. So if you have any questions, I'll link a Reddit guide below where I'm going to do a Q&A, frequently asked questions. So all questions should be answered there. Also, I do play with this build a lot on streams, so make sure to follow me on Twitch, linked in the description below. Thank you for watching.